This video has been a long time coming. What up, folks? This is I from AskOp Solar, where I like to keep solar simple. Let's talk about the Oupes, the Sue, the Cheryl Swoops. Anyway, I call it the Oupes. It will forever be the Oupes. This is the Oupes portable power station. It is a 555 watt-hour device with a 600 watt inverter. It charges from the ever popular 8mm port, which is cool. I like that. I don't like weird ports. It has two AC outlets. They both share one grounded hole. It's not grounded. Most power stations are not grounded. I don't know if any are. It has USB-C 60 watt bi-directional power delivery port and two quick charge USB-A. None of those old school USB slow chargers. I appreciate that. So with regard to bi-directional charging, I love the feature. I think it's super convenient. This thing through the 8mm can charge at about 100 watts from solar. It can charge at about 100 watts from the AC and something slightly smaller from the 12-volt plug. I'll put how much it charges at down here. Because of that bi-directional port, when you're charging it from AC or 12-volt, you can get an extra 60 watts in. But you have to be mindful because these bi-directional ports, sometimes they don't know how to navigate which device is charging which. So that's not a problem if you use an AC adapter or a 12-volt adapter where the power is only going one way. But if you try to charge this from another power station, you may have an issue because that power station may then want to be charged by this device. It's interesting, but you can navigate it fine. I just feel like that needs to be known. Bi-directional charging, great, but sometimes they don't work well together. They don't know what to do. You have your 12-volt socket with this nice little cover. You have two 5521 ports rated up to 10 amps. That's what it says. That's what I'm gonna believe. The thing has a really nice screen, man. Really nice screen. Super bright display with the percentage there. It has battery bars. It has time remaining. I think the screen is overall really nice. One thing that I don't like is that the screen does not stay on. Why can't y'all just keep the screen on, fam? Why? Just keep the screen on. It's a really nice build quality too. I like it. I kind of find myself feeling like this thing can do more than it can because it's built like a tank. It's mainly because of those LiPo batteries inside. The fan is not particularly loud, but one thing that I'm not a fan of is that it comes kind of on and off periodically. I'm starting to really favor power stations where the fan does not come on under a smaller watt load. This one doesn't seem to matter. As long as this is on and powering anything, even like about 10 watts, the fan just kind of revs up a little bit and then revs down, revs up. It's not loud, but why does the fan have to come on like that anyway? I'm not sure. It has a nice diffused light on the back. One thing that I do like about this light is it's not tied to the device being powered on. So if you come over here at any time, if this thing has power and you turn the diffused light on, it will turn on. I like that. It cycles through the power settings. There's only a few devices, maybe even one that's a techie, where when you turn the light on, it just turns on. You press the button, it turns off. If you want to go through the fancy cycles, you have to hold it. I like that approach to these lights, but it's not a biggie. One thing that is important to note is that the button for the AC is underneath here. If you have wires plugged in, it's a little bit annoying to have to go under the wires to turn the AC on. That's something that I noticed in me just kind of using it. Not a big deal, but it's just something that I'm mindful of. Like, I can't just reach over the top and turn it on. I have to kind of go under the buttons to turn it on. Whereas like the other buttons are on the side, so they're easily accessible or more easily accessible. I do like that the power input is on the side of the device. That's kind of like 6 one way, half a dozen another. But in certain use cases, it's nice to not have the power coming in on the front because that wire gets in the way. But it depends on your situation. I don't have this one plugged into solar very often. I don't have it charging very often. But if it's your main device, having it on the side is kind of nice. But then sometimes you may find you want it on the other side. You know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Also keep in mind that because the screen does not stay on, there are no visual indicators of what's on, except for on the screen. There's no lights on the device. It would have been nice if they had like a little white light in the inside of these buttons. I'm just saying. Wait, I forgot to mention that there's no MC4 cable. Why? Put MC4 cable in the box, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? And now on to the what I talked about. You can see that this one has the name on it, but this one The first one that I received does not. This particular device has some issues. It charges fine from AC, but it does not charge from 12 volt. By 12 volt, I mean cigarette lighter, USB-C, or solar panel. This thing has some type of issue or defect. Their newer ones do not have the issue. The one on the floor does not have the issue. But what will happen is if you're charging this from solar, at some point it stops charging, the fan keeps running, and then that just drains the battery. So this thing is being really problematic. 10%, it's been out here for a couple hours. It's hooked up to a 100 watt HVST panel, and it's not charging. I don't know why a fan running drains the battery that much, but it does. And then it stops charging. So it's a weird situation. I kind of talked with Oupes. I went back and forth with them. I'm not contentious or anything. They posed like a solution to try and address it, but that doesn't work. So at the end of the day, if you have this one and you have issues charging it from solar or 12 volt, you need to reach out to them, and the email address will be down in the description. I'll put it right here too. I forget what it is. And you know, I could spare you all the details, but it stopped working. So they sent me another one. They were very responsive. I hope they're very responsive to you. Overall, I'm really impressed with the device. The cost is really nice. The watt hour capacity is nice. I don't like that it's only 100 watts of charging. It's like, you know, but their bigger one can charge at 200 watts. So if you realistically look at it, if you have AC coming into this or solar really, you could still put extra power into it from USB-C. So it can charge at up to 160 watts of power, maybe like 157, 156 against a 555 watt hour battery capacity. That's pretty good. I like when these devices have dual charging. It can charge at the same time. I don't know if I noted that, but that's always a good time. And most people shouldn't be using their devices until dead on a regular basis. So you won't even have to have it charged that long. You should kind of live in between like 20 to 80%, 40 to 80%. But that's up to you. I mean, I use my power. It's good to know the rule. You don't always have to obey it. Just be mindful of it. I often find myself feeling like this thing can kind of power anything, but it can't. It's a 600 watt inverter, 555 watt hour device. So it's right on par with some other devices like your 500 watt Jackery, your EcoFlow River Max, and so on and so forth. Jason Noy did a really good comprehensive video about the device. Go check out his video. I'll toss it up here, but it's a really solid device. I'm quite happy with it. I'm happy to have it as a part of my arsenal. It is odd. Holla.